All right, we're back. In this demonstration, we're going to explore a few designs involving the design concept contrast. So what I'm going to do is start by naming the file contrast. So this is contrast, and we're going to create all of our designs within this one file. And just like before, we're going to make sure that we're in inches for the width. We'll do a standard 8.5 inches tall by 11 wide at 300 dpi, just in case we want to print it down the road. And obviously, if we do place this on the web, which we will definitely do, we're going to have to convert the file to 72 at some point. And I'll be going over that again in more detail. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to start off by clicking the cursor once, and we're going to type the word contrast. Now with my first design, I'm going to type it out in all uppercase letters, just like that. I'm going to go apply. So now remember, for this project, we have to come up with 3 different designs involving the word contrast. Now the designs I'm about to explore are only going to be partially explored, because what I want to do within this tutorial is show you how to actually cut up font type. For example, either take this top contrast and cut it right in half, or perhaps take one letter like this O right here and just cut that in half. How do we go about doing that? So let's leave this like this and go a little bit bigger, and we'll just do a quick demo. So I'm going to make sure I go to save. I'm going to call this contrast cutting type. Alright, so the first thing you need to do in order to cut type is go to Layer, up to Layer, so we're up here on the Options bar. We have File, Edit, Image, Layer. So Layer is 4 over from the upper left, and then we're going to go down, 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 all the way down to what's called Rasterize. So right now, contrast is in what's called vector mode. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, and it will never lose the quality of the file. But we're going to rasterize it, make it into a bitmap, just like a picture you would see on a TV or on your cellular phone. And we're going to rasterize the type. So notice what happened just now. This, down here on layers, there's no longer the T for type. It's no longer editable text. Like this layer, we can double click the T and it will highlight the entire word contrast. Same thing with this layer up above, or this layer on the bottom. But notice on this one, we can no longer do that because it's become a bitmap. It's become a picture. It's flattened. It's rasterized. So what that's going to allow us to do is about what I'm going to show you. I can take this rectangular marquee tool, and just for example, I can cut across this whole, grab the entire top half just like that. See, I'm on that layer, and I can actually go Edit, Cut. But you want to make sure you're on the right layer. Edit, Cut. Up. Cannot complete the cut command because the selected layer is empty. I must be on the wrong layer. Let me just go down. Which one did I rasterize? Oh yeah! So I'm going to go up top to Auto Select. So let's see, Control D. And the one that I want to cut is this one up top. So that what I just did is a very common error. A lot of students and a lot of people who aren't students will actually forget what layer has been rasterized. So it's this layer. A good habit to get in is to turn it on and off. So it's this layer. So once again, I'm on top of that, and I'm going to go to Edit, Cut. And then from there, I'm going to go to Edit, Paste. Notice what happens. Now we've got two different layers with two different parts of the picture, two different sections. So what I want to do is deselect one of these. So go to Select, 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 Deselect. Okay, now we have this one. I'm just clicking on that layer. So notice that. Now we can play around with a different idea. So for example, just separating it shows a little bit of contrast. So that's my first example. Now I'm going to call over here, get into the good habit of labeling these layers. So I'm going to call this top half, and then the bottom. There's my top half. And then the bottom, I'm going to label that bottom half, just so we don't get things mixed up. So double click that layer, bottom half, contrast. So that's my first little demo in cutting. Another way to cut, instead of using the marquee tool or the rectangular marquee tool, we can go to Image once again, go to Layer, all the way down to, oh, nope, 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 nope. Got to make sure I'm doing the right thing here. So let's see, Image, Layer, 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 Rasterized Type. So all the way down. A lot of these programs can get so complex, sometimes it's hard to keep track of where things are. So here we are, Rasterized Type. So let me just make some copies of this contrast, so I can show you a few different techniques of cutting. So we've got that one. Now let me turn off this bottom one. So we've got contrast 1, and then we're going to do contrast 2. And then we have the bottom one here. So I've already showed you how to use the rectangular marquee tool. Another concept would be to explore the circular elliptical. Now with the elliptical, I can hold Shift. By holding Shift, it will actually make it into a circle. So once again, I go to this tool, Select tool, make sure I'm on the right layer, and then I could go to Edit, Cut, just like that, Paste. So here's another idea for contrast. And then I could take that middle part and bring it smaller like that. So that's an idea. Contrast, that's kind of cool. Now we have this bottom one, another way to contrast, suggest contrast. Before we can do anything, we got to make sure it's rasterized, which it is, because I can see the picture there on the layer. I could use what's called the freehand lasso tool and actually cut through like this all the way around, and then go to Cut. Oh, once again, you need to make sure you're on the right layer. Cut. Notice that when I did that cut, now this is a good mistake because I was actually on a feather when I made that cut, a feather of 50. So way up top, just below the type, you'll see feather. I had that on feather from something I was doing yesterday. I want to make sure that's on 0 for this little demonstration. Then I'm going to go to Cut. I did it again. And so what I need to do is redo the selection. It still had the feather in the memory. Now let's see what it does this time. This time it'll work. Cut. Yep. So that was a straight cut. Okay, then that just popped there, and now I'm going to bring that down. So here's another way to cut. So you could essentially do, with this freehand, you could make any type of cut you want. So if I wanted to go on top, let's just go back to this top one here. First one I did. I could, first you want to click it to make sure you're on that layer. I could go to the freehand and just cut out a section if I wanted to, just like that. Or another variation is what's called this polygon lasso tool. Watch this little trick. Anywhere I click, it's going to allow me to change directions. So click, 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 click. I can go all the way around and turn corners and change directions at all points I click at. And then I'm going all the way to the beginning of marching ants, and then I can go to cut. So that's another interesting approach to contrast. So, cutting letters is pretty basic, as you can see. And if you want to, I think I did this a little bit before. We have this one here. I could take the rectangular marquee. This is a picture now, and I could go to cut the entire letter out away from the picture contrast, and then go repaste, and then take that one and actually go bigger like that. So you can isolate if you want to. And then I could take that and go to cut, and then go to edit, paste. So feel free to isolate letters too. Now just for the heck of it, let me turn off a few of these so we can explore this top concept. Okay, so we've got that. Contrast, contrast. And I'll put that in front. All right. So, feel free to explore a few of these concepts and see how you can integrate them into your own vision or versions of what contrast could be in terms of a design.